The summer of 1991 in Milwaukee wasn't just hot. It was explosive. The horrifying revelations of Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes sent shockwaves through the city, but it was the public's response to the police's handling of the case that truly sparked a revolution. The streets filled with protesters, their voices united in a single powerful demand: change. This wasn't just about one monstrous individual. It was about a system that had failed its most vulnerable citizens time and time again. The anger and grief on those streets became the undeniable catalyst for a top-to-bottom overhaul of the Milwaukee Police Department. The Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, the body responsible for overseeing the police, found itself in the eye of the storm. The public's trust had been shattered, and piecemeal solutions weren't going to cut it. The protests forced the commission to take a hard, uncomfortable look at its own internal disciplinary procedures. For years, accountability had been a murky concept, often handled behind closed doors with little public oversight. Now, the demand for transparency was deafening. The commission was compelled to reevaluate how it investigated complaints against officers and how it handed down discipline. This wasn't just about punishing a few officers. It was about fundamentally altering the culture of accountability within the entire department. The old ways were no longer acceptable, and the pressure from the streets ensured that this time the calls for reform could not be ignored. One of the most immediate and glaring failures exposed by the Dahmer case was the officers' inability to see cannibalism as a victim. They dismissed the concerns of black women who tried to intervene, tragically misjudging the situation. In response, a major push was made for mandatory sensitivity training. This wasn't your standard workplace seminar. The new programs were designed to directly confront racial bias and improve cultural competency. For the first time, comprehensive training on LGBTQ issues was also introduced. The goal was to dismantle the prejudices that allowed officers to dismiss witnesses from marginalized communities. It was a crucial step toward ensuring that every citizen, regardless of their race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation, would be heard and taken seriously. The department had to learn to see its community not as a collection of stereotypes, but as a diverse tapestry of individuals deserving of equal protection and respect. The case also laid bare critical flaws in how the police handled missing persons reports, especially when the missing were young men of color. Families had pleaded for help, only to feel their concerns were dismissed or not prioritized. This led to significant structural reforms in missing persons protocols. The new procedures were designed to be more responsive and thorough, eliminating the arbitrary waiting periods and biases that had previously plagued the system. Beyond just procedural changes, the department recognized a deep, painful chasm between itself and the city's minority neighborhoods. To bridge this gap, community liaison roles were established. These weren't just PR positions. They were dedicated officers tasked with building genuine relationships, fostering trust, and opening lines of communication with communities that had long felt ignored and over-policed. It was an admission that law enforcement couldn't operate in a vacuum. It needed to be an integrated, trusted part of the community it served. However, the path to reform was anything but smooth. A firestorm of controversy erupted when the two officers who had returned cannibalism to Dahmer were initially fired, only to be reinstated after a lengthy legal battle and arbitration process. This decision was a gut punch to the community. It felt like a giant step backward, a sign that the old system was still capable of protecting its own despite public outcry. The reinstatement controversy became a rallying cry for activists and reformers. It highlighted a critical weakness in the existing oversight structure. Even when the commission made a decision, it could be overturned. This painful episode fueled a powerful push for the creation of stronger, more independent civilian review boards. The public demanded a mechanism with real teeth, one that could ensure police accountability was not just a suggestion, but a guarantee. The fight for civilian oversight was long and arduous. It was a battle for power, pitting community activists against police unions and entrenched political interests. Proponents argued that an independent board, composed of citizens and with the authority to conduct its own investigations and recommend discipline, was the only way to ensure lasting transparency and rebuild trust. Opponents claimed it would undermine police authority and morale. The debate raged in City Hall, in the media, and on the streets. But the momentum started by the protests was undeniable. The community had seen what happened when oversight was weak, and they were determined not to let it happen again. The struggle for a stronger civilian review board became the next chapter in Milwaukee's quest for justice, a direct legacy of the anger and activism born in the summer of 1991. Looking back, the legacy of the protests is complex. Did they solve every problem? No, but they undeniably forced a reckoning. The policy changes, the new training, the revised protocols, the creation of liaison roles were tangible victories. They represented a fundamental shift in how the Milwaukee Police Department was expected to operate. The struggle over officer accountability and civilian review laid the groundwork for future battles for police reform, not just in Milwaukee but across the nation. The voices of those protesters echoed far beyond the city limits, contributing to a national conversation about the relationship between law enforcement and the communities they are sworn to protect. It's a conversation that continues to this day. The reforms born from this tragedy serve as a powerful reminder. Public pressure works. When a community unites to demand change, it can move mountains, even ones as seemingly immovable as a major city's police department. The journey is never easy and progress is often met with resistance. But the story of Milwaukee after Dahmer is a testament to the enduring power of citizen activism. It shows that out of immense tragedy, it is possible to forge a path toward a more just and accountable system. The fight for true equity and safety for all is ongoing, but the foundation for that fight was strengthened in the fires of 1991. Thanks for watching. And if you found this look into history valuable, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shape our world.